Welcome for the second part of our Peace Talk. We're here with Guylaine Gabin and Cheryl Jazab and myself, Celia Kieft. And we talked about peace before the break. And right now, I would like to invite you guys to think more about peace in your own personal life or love life or what you know from others. Peace in the family and peace in the business, either one. Which one you feel comfortable starting out with, or what brings you to mind?
Ooh, I think of your classes, what we've learned from you, talking about peaceful communication, peaceful conflict resolution, really examining how we're relating to one another.
Yeah.
Is so beneficial. It's so beneficial to just give the intention and the awareness to are we fostering what we want? Are we fertilizing the flowers and not the things that we don't want? Are we caring for one another as if we would a garden?
Right. Yeah. So it's also nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
So the nurturing part is one that we like to be valued, we like to be seen, acknowledged, all these things that bring us more in balance. And in a love relationship, we expect so much from the other instead of thinking first, what can I do to change? Because if you make a change in the first place, then you will help the other to make the change as well.
Yes. And I would like to add to that also the concept of acceptance and understanding that no, you're not going to change your partner.
No, understanding also that you can only change yourself, right?
To some extent also.
Sure.
And that reminds me of often what happens with me and my husband. Sometimes we go to the same place and we both have our bicycles, and so we leave at the same time. We take different routes, and then we get there at the same place. We find each other again. And I think it's very symbolic of the way we live together.
Wonderful. Yeah,
It
you
is
go
wonderful.
your separate way and you meet again. Wow. Wow, beautiful. Yeah.
So sweet.
Yeah, well, if I think of my love relationship with my husband, it's like I know his wording. When you live a long time with someone, you know what someone's wording is. And accepting that and realizing that even though I will not change my wording, in the sense that I will not start talking the way he will, but I understand where he's coming from. And if a misunderstanding, then I will stand up for myself and I say, on the other hand, what I actually meant, so that I come back to, even though I do not disregard what he said, but taking that in, accepting that, and putting mine next to it, and see if he can look from his side to my side. And if you can help each other doing that, to help each other seeing from their side to your side. Like you help someone crossing the bridge. You say, the bridge is between us, and you have to just come over the bridge. Well, you have to actually show that bridge. The bridge goes like this, and then if you do 2 steps more there, then you can see me. So, I'm here. So, for me, thinking in peace with a love relationship is also even, first of all, understanding where the other comes from, but then also understanding what you demand or what you request or what you would like to, and how can you present that to the other so that the other can fulfill that for you. You have to be a helper for the other to help you. Be a helper for their love to come to you. So, and if we could do that, then vice versa as well, of course, then you're fine. Because then also you can let go one moment. You are not the funnest person at that moment, or you are having upset, and the other can then receive that and do that same to you what you did. before. So that is something I would love with love relationships. Yeah.
Yeah, I love how you said, and then you're fine. Really, it's the secret. It's the secret sauce. Really, if you're doing that, you're giving and receiving, and then you're fine. We can have so much thought into these topics, and sometimes, again, if we're thinking, are we living? Are we really inhabiting our body? I learned something precious to me several years ago. I read a book that described the traits that God put into men and women, and the traits that were described were that men need to have a sense of adventure, and they need to feel like they've rescued the beauty, and they need to feel like they're creating a stable environment, and that they're the man, that they really are the stud. Like they've gotten these qualities down, and they're doing a good job, basically. And I started looking at my husband and looking at all the things that he's doing well. And there was an occasion where he was with a lot of his brothers-in-law, and we had just moved back to Oklahoma, and they were kind of catching up on what he had done in his life, and he had done some great things. And that night I said, "Did you see the way they were looking at you? Did you see the way that they responded to you?" And of course he didn't. I said, "You're a stud. You got it going on." And I just talked to him about everything he was doing right for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then he completely responded to me differently and
Sure.
changed because he
Sure.
felt his
Valued.
worth and value as a
Yeah.
husband, and he knew I knew it.
Sure, he knew you read that book. Did
He
you
knew-
read that book?
He knew the results. He definitely knew the
Yeah.
results.
Seen,
And,
being
aw.
seen, being understood.
Yeah.
Sure.
Being valued. Yeah. Yes,
Aw.
yeah. And what about business? And like you work with a lot of groups and with profit and non-profit groups. Is that different, or is it actually the same?
Yeah, it's no, it's pretty much the same.
Pretty much
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Yeah.
connection with people is.
Yeah. And before there is understanding
Yeah.
with more people, or even in a one-on-one business meeting, what would you say?
Yeah, I'm not sure I
where
have
where
contribution
peace?
right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you create an environment for the meeting, or do you think about? Of course, we think about how can we make a setup that it has the best chance to succeed, right? And
Yeah.
when we succeed, thinking we have the connection.
Mm.
And I would say if we can think in the connection, and what we just talked about in the first session, is if we can go to that connection in the business meeting, it's not for getting a person in your business or selling something to them, but it is about I can get a connection with that person, you know?
Yeah.
And if we can then add the idea of if I can have that person feel that peacefulness, then they have all they wanted, actually, regardless what you provide for stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
What you provide is secondary
Yes.
to just
Yeah.
loving people and
Creating the atmosphere of presence, acceptance, love.
Right.
Yeah.
That is it actually.
mm.
Yeah. You were still saying something more about that? Or
Well, then you're right, creating the atmosphere. I think that goes back to intention, is what is the atmosphere we're creating? And I love how it's an ongoing thing, as you
Yeah.
pointed out earlier. All these are ongoing things, and
Yeah.
we can easily, I think as human beings, we have seen a lot of criticism modeled, and we can easily be so hard on ourselves.
Mhm.
And it's beautiful when you tap into the idea that it's okay. It's
Right.
okay. If we make a mistake, it's okay, and we can
We're
recorrect
fine.
and
Yeah.
recreate, as you said
Recreate,
earlier.
Yeah.
It is a recreation,
Mhm.
and that's kind of the beauty of life,
Yeah.
that we're never stuck in one way of being, that
Yeah,
we can recreate.
absolutely.
Right.
Trusting that you can learn something new.
Yes,
No matter
yes.
what happens.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
that's what you may have meant by receiving what the universe is providing. There's so many options out there. There's so many things to tap into.
And
And
things we don't know
receiving.
yet.
Yeah,
so many
there's
things we don't know
still
yet.
A lot to discover,
Uh,
right?
And I
Yeah.
look at too openness versus being closed in any way, closed-minded, closed-mouthed, closed to new ideas. I think that's where the core of who we are. If that is enlightened and opened, then we have the ability to see openness in other ways.
Yeah.
Utilize those parts of our brain that can help us to line things up and create new things.
Right. Right.
I think openness is just so
Yeah.
important. I always think in terms of health, but in terms of our outer life as well, and
Right.
relationships as well. And
Yeah.
of course, they feed one another.
Yeah, I like very much the word transparency.
Mhm.
Like you don't necessarily need to share everything with
Mhm.
everybody,
Mhm.
but if you are transparent in who you are in this moment, in the here and
Oh.
now,
Honesty.
the
Yeah.
yeah, honesty is also can be interpreted
Mm.
differently. But if you are transparent, if you are readable, that the other can is not confused in what you're doing. And I think for peace that would help very much staying in the here and now.
Mhm.
Staying in the here and now, that is, I think, that transparency then it shows up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's the breath that helps you connect.
Nice.
Brings the mind back to the body, and that's the meaning, the tool that's used in yoga.
Wow.
Yoga means yoking, bringing together
Oh, there you go.
body and mind, and we just only takes one breath.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 Only
Here
take-
now.
It only needs one breath.
And that's the birth,
Yeah.
the birth of presence and peace
Wow.
and awareness.
Wow. So if we talked about where do we start thinking about peace? Is it at the conception? Is it at birth? But if you say at birth, then
Conception
birth,
of your breath.
right? It's the birth of
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yep.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Last topic. What about children? What about parenting or interacting with children or having them around, or teens or little ones?
For make
experience?
experiments.
Or the animals? Yeah, of course. We yeah. Well, with children, the power level, we drag all of a sudden a power level difference. And of course, with animals, we do that too. We see still ourselves as maybe more than an animal, even though we can hopefully step aside from that. But in majority, and that is with children too. Like I say in the class that I teach the children 5 to 8 years old, you don't need to say Miss Celia. If otherwise, I think I should say Miss Sophie. Because why wouldn't we treat each other?
Mama cat.
Yeah, Mama cat, yeah. Like, yeah, because the wording that we use, we put each other on a platform, and you can make changes there too. And I think peace-wise, if we can forget about the level differences, how are we rephrasing our minds there to become aware of that kind of entrance for peace? What would you say with children?
So you're saying that labeling one another makes a disconnect between us?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
I wish you'd say
Yeah.
more about that.
yeah, yeah. Well, the parent, from a parent view, often you think you have to have the action in the hands, and you are always the person who guides everything and tells them what to do. If you step back, hold back, and you think, I'm not the only one telling you what needs to be done. Let me see what you have to say.
Mhm.
And and even if you're 2 years old, why not already incorporating their actions in what you do? And also being aware. We have not talked yet about peace and time, because time. You were looking at time.
Yeah.
You have to go.
Yes.
So we're ending here.
So it's
I
a
think
good,
we're gonna get a third meeting.
a good timing.
A
for-
good timing.
So,
Thank you so much for
Thank
having me here, and
So
yes,
see you next time.
yes.
Wow.